Hi, Tim here from World of Sleuths with another current reads. Since my last current reads, I've finished two books. Shortly after I did it, I decided that I was going to read an ebook along with the other book I was reading. And so, showing you it. See, I just recently got a new tablet and I loaded both the Nook and Kindle apps on it. I got a 10-inch Android tablet, and so that it's easier to see and read stuff on here. I got I already had stuff in my library from the started looking through the stuff that I had in my Nook library already, and I found I had The Mysterious Affair of Styles by Agatha Christie on it, and I hadn't read it yet. I've read other books of hers, and decided I'd read it. It's first, it was her first novel, and it was her first Poirot novel, and in this book, Hastings just comes back, comes home from the army with because of medical reasons, and comes back from the war, World War I and stuff, and he's staying with some friends at their manor by the village of Styles. It was a couple, a friend and his brother and their stepmother, and their stepmother had remarried also, and his friend is married, and then another girl that who was orphaned that their mother took in, and they were all living there at the manor and yet still had plenty of room. Well, his friend's father's will, when he died, he left most of the money in his estate to his stepmother, but she pretty much took care of him and his brother pretty good and stuff, and but they were both pretty much broke because with the way they spent their money and stuff, and they didn't trust their stepfather and stuff, and one night the stepmother is even before this happens, I should say, they one day going on a trip into the village, they going along, all of a sudden Hastings sees somebody that looks familiar, and he couldn't believe it. It was Poirot. He thought he was in Belgium and found out that he was in England. He had worked with him before on some cases back in Belgium, and the stepmother mysteriously gets poisoned one evening, and so they bring Poirot in to investigate, and the story goes on from there. I gave it a rating of 4 stars on Goodreads. And then I finally finished a novel that I know it had been in my TBR for a while. I kept saying I was going to read it, and I finally did, and I finished it. It's Duplicity by Newt Gingrich and Pete Durley. You notice Pete Durley is in small letters there, and on Goodreads it just gives credit to Newt Gingrich. this is a political thriller, but there's terrorism and stuff like that involved, and this really surprised me. It's I'm not going to really talk much about it. I'm just saying I gave it a rating of 5 stars. I'm going to leave a link to my my blog post with my review of it, so you can read it, because I give it better justice in that than I could ever do on here. But like I said, I give it a 5-star rating. It's a political thriller, and some of I'll say this book was originally published in 2015, and a lot of the stuff that it takes place during an election year, and some of the stuff that going on, it is sort of reminiscent of this last presidential election here in the U.S. and even some of the stuff going on now. So it was interesting. I rated it 5 stars, and like I said, I'll leave a link to that blog post for that review down below. And then now, what I've started reading a book. I decided to join in this month on for the rereadathon that Michael of Catalyst Reads is hosting. The book I'm reading is a book that came out 30 years ago. I read it back when it was new and stuff. One of my favorite authors. Also, the book is Red Storm Rising, one of his books that's not Tom Clancy novel. This is a standalone novel by him, and it's pretty much a scenario where like the beginning of World War, or like a World War III scenario, where the Soviet Union invades Europe because like in the mid or late 80s, and that's been one of my favorite books. See, I was stationed in Germany at the time, so that made it even more interesting for me. Well, that's all that I have for you this time. Also, I'll tell you, this book is 725 pages long. I've heard that, hey, if I can read like 73 pages a day, I can finish it by the end of the month, which is a doable amount for me to read in a day. And some days I can even read more. Well, that's all I have for you this time. And so until next time, take it easy and keep on reading.